There are two major Kobudo styles. The first is Ryukyu Kobudo, and the second is Matayoshi Kobudo. But there's also a third, lesser-known style called Yamane Ryu, and it actually influenced the two previous styles. And in today's video, I'm gonna explain all these three Kobudo styles for you. Check it out. I started learning this style of Kobudo from a very young age because both of my parents were direct students of the legendary Inoue Motokatsu, who was the first sensei to be awarded a Hanshi Menkyo Kaiden license in Ryukyu Kobudo from the founder himself, Taira Shinken. Now, Taira was actually born on an island called Kumejima, and later on he traveled around to try to gather as much as possible of this lost Kobudo art before it disappeared. And that's why the style is called Ryukyu Kobudo, because many of the kata that were handed down through Taira came from several of the different Ryukyu islands. And you can see this in many of the kata names. Since Taira traveled around and learned so many different weapons, it is a vast system. Ryukyu Kobudo consists of bo, sai, tonfa, kama, tekko, nunchaku, timbe, rochin, eiku, the list goes on. And I actually teach all of these weapons in my online course that you can find on kobudomastery.com. But what most people don't know is that Taira Shinken had an accident and injured his leg, which meant that he had to change the stances in many of the techniques that he taught. That's why there are many different variations of the kata handed down in Ryukyu Kobudo, depending on when people learned the katas from Taira. Unfortunately, there is only one living student left of Taira Shinken. His name is Nakamoto Masahiro Sensei, and I've had the honor of training with him many times during my years in Okinawa. He was actually the first teacher awarded a 10th degree black belt by the Okinawan prefecture. Taira Shinken's maiden name was actually Maizato, and that's why there are some kata handed down called Maizato, for example with the tekko or knuckle duster, because those weapons didn't have any old kata, so he created his own. And the way he did it was by reaching out to Funakoshi Gichin, the founder of Shotokan, and they made an arrangement so that he would teach Funakoshi Kobudo, and Funakoshi would teach Taira karate, which he could then use to create his own Kobudo kata for the weapons that didn't have any old kata. There are very few dojos around the world that teach the entire system of Ryukyu Kobudo, but many karate schools teach some parts of it, mainly because many famous karate masters throughout history actually learned Ryukyu Kobudo as well. Now let's move on to the second style. The first thing that strikes you about Matayoshi Kobudo is that they have a black jacket and white pants, which is quite unusual and not seen in many other styles, even in karate. Matayoshi Kobudo was founded by Shinko Matayoshi, who then passed it down to his son Shinpo Matayoshi, who made it famous and started an organization to preserve his father's art. You see, his father actually went to China, unlike the founder of Ryukyu Kobudo. In China, he learned many unique weapons that only exist in the Matayoshi style of Okinawan Kobudo, such as the nunti bo and the kua and the machete instead of the short spear. Funnily enough, I saw all of these weapons when I went to China myself to learn the 5 ancestor style of Kung Fu, but we don't know exactly what styles Matayoshi Sensei learned in China. Instead of stopping the bo by the hip when they do their strikes, Matayoshi Kobudo stops the bo on the outside of the forearm, which gives you more reach and mobility. But Matayoshi Shinko didn't only bring back weapon techniques to Okinawa. He also brought empty-hand Kung Fu in a style known as Kingai Ryu, which still remains kind of half-secret even to this day and has some really cool techniques in their katas that have been handed down to this day. Now I know what you're thinking. Jesse-san, why do they have a black jacket? Well, actually, there are some other styles that wear black pants as well, and the reason is because when you use weapons, you tend to get smudge and dirt on your gi. So it's just practical to not have a white gi because it would look like crap. This style was originally a bo or staff style only, and that's why it influenced both Ryukyu Kobudo and Matayoshi Kobudo, because some of the original kata from Yamane Ryu are Shuji, Sakugawa, Yonegawa, Shirotaru, and so on. And these kata can be found in the both previously mentioned styles. And the reason is because it was founded by a man named Shinen Sanda from a district in Okinawa by the foot of a mountain, which is what the name literally means. Yama is mountain and ne means at the bottom or the foot of the mountain. Yamane Ryu is all about going with the flow, and the baseball bat-like swings means the bow almost never stops, but also has great power. Yamane Ryu has other weapons today like the sai or the tonfa, but originally it was just the bow, and it was performed in a very similar manner to Ryukyu Kobudo or Matayoshi Kobudo. And the reason is because all of these styles actually cross-trained with each other back in the days before the idea of styles even existed. But as time went on, their students became more and more specialized in certain ways of doing movements. And that's why Ryukyu Kobudo, Matayoshi Kobudo, and Yamane Ryu Kobudo look very different today, although originally that was not the case. Yamane Ryu Kobudo is not that popular these days, and it's really hard to learn the authentic version. But the teachings have been passed on. And if you want to learn some of those kata, remember to check out my online course at kobudomastery.com. Thank you so much for watching. Train hard, good luck, and have fun.